what do you expect? How do you expect objectivity from a person of this type of antecedents? The source is suspicious. The only source he is relying upon, the anti-Modi, anti-India, Hindu-phobic journalist whose only contribution is that she has been spitting venom on Hindus, the Hindu practices, the Hindu, the 2002 riots in which she personally made insinuations against Mr. Modi. So this type of antecedent is his only source. For the purpose of objectivity, having regard to the fact that he was working for one big name in the media, one international name in the media, he should have consulted or he should have referred upon more sources than relying solely upon the lady called Rana Ayyub.
Hello and welcome to PGurus channel. I'm your host Sri Iyer. Fareed Zakaria, CNN. This person, I used to feel good that, someone of Indian American origin is actually hosting such an important program. I think it was called GPS or something like that, Global Public something Square or something like that. It comes on Sundays, I think around 10 a.m. I used to watch it for a few years until an allegation that this man has been plagiarizing content came up. And for some strange reason, CNN investigated that and then, despite having good proof, allowed him to continue in this program. Well, anybody is open to hiring anyone. It is their channel, it is their risk that they are carrying. What becomes interesting is Mr. Zakaria goes out and reaches this one rabid Hindu-phobic person called Rana Ayyub, whose credentials I greatly suspect, whose morals, let's not talk about that part. And this lady spouts venom as if only the Muslim community has been hurt in the Delhi riot. For the fact of the 43 that have been killed, I believe 30 are Hindus, and the population there is 70% Muslim. This is a very, very high number of Hindus who have been killed in these riots. Don't go by the numbers, but just the fact that it's 30% Hindu and 75% of the dead are Hindus. So there is no way that whatever argument she is putting holds water. And beyond that, what is the problem with CNN? I thought this was a channel that wanted to bring out news. Are they also falling left so far that they're going to say anything they want? To know more about Fareed Zakaria and his antecedents, let's join Mr. RVS Mani. Mr. Mani, welcome to PGurus channel.
Namaskar.
So, Fareed Zakaria is the son of Rafiq Zakaria, and he has a bit of a history, isn't it? Let's go from Fareed Zakaria's antecedents and then move forward.
See, Rafiq, you started off saying that he's a man of Indian origin, American.
Yes.
That is also a gray area for the fact that after falling out, after alleging and beating up by Rafiq Zakaria, Fareed's mother, and whatever happened, they separated and she went and married a Pakistani. So as of technically, he's now of Pakistani origin American. So
hold on. Sir, I want to clarify something here. Is Fareed Zakaria born to her second husband or first husband?
No, first husband only. First husband.
Okay.
But,
all right.
But
okay, we're getting our semantics. Okay.
Semantics.
Yeah.
But I just wanted on the lighter side, whether he's an Indian American or a Pakistani, because he's still in very close contact with his mother and all. That is where his loyalties are lying. So get that thing clear, that for the purpose of professionalism, that is where his loyalty is lying. Having said that, Rafiq Zakaria also was not a great thing. He was among the fixers group. There was a fixers group surrounding Rajiv Gandhi during his tenure as Prime Minister. The kingpin of that was our great Mani Shankar, who is again a Pakistani loyalist. He is very well known and documented like that. And there were others like one Mohammed Yunus of ITPO. I don't know how he was made that. Then one HK Khan, a Gujarat cadre officer, and few other cronies who would guide Rajiv Gandhi to further their own agenda. And not only that, the go for Rafiq Zakaria is also, if anybody can go back to the records of 1986 and all, he was a sort of a go between General Ziaul Haq and Rajiv Gandhi for whatever reasons it is. Still, he was killed in an accident in 88. So the Pakistani loyalties, irrespective of the whether the thing is already there in his readings. So this is one thing which I wanted to share, and it's all well known. If anybody could please go back and do a little bit of research on the archives of Indian Express papers those days or other newspapers, many things would come out how the cabal used to work around Rajiv Gandhi, whether it was Mani Shankar Iyer, whether it was HK Khan, whether it was Mohammed Yunus, or it was other people like Gopi Krishna Arora and all that, and including S.K. Bhatnagar, the defense secretary, whose name was named in the Bofors issue also. So this was a cabal which was working. So that is his background in which he came up. And later on, he had a problem with his mother and father had a problem. His father had been accused. Those days, the Domestic Violence Act was not there in operation in India. But his father had a violent marriage with Fareed's mother, and ultimately beat her up, and they divorced, and she went on to marry a Pakistani person. This is the perspective antecedents of the parents of Fareed Zakaria. So that goes on. Dr. Rafiq Zakaria, that goes on. How I had an opportunity was this, that in 1987 there was one Jawaharlal Nehru Centenary Celebration Committee formed. It was there, and somehow I had some brief opportunity to be associated because one of my very senior officers had become the member secretary of that committee, and till the proper committee was formed, he had used our services as a team. And that is how I met with this gentleman. And also, to that extent, I have the insight. But beyond and the same cabal was working and executing the process of how to celebrate, what to celebrate, and a huge amount of money was, and those were not the days of event management companies. So it was the government and the tent house wallahs who made money out of it. Some government officers and some tent house wallahs. This is one basic thing about Fareed Zakaria, Rafiq Zakaria. He was a member of the Rafiq Zakaria was a member of the committee. So about Rana Ayyub, let me tell you one thing, that she is the same person who had chased Modi, falsely alleging about his involvement in 2002 Gujarat riots. She had gone on a pseudo name, false name as Saraswati or something like that, and written a book about it, and all sorts of falsehood was perpetuated in that. I had also briefly questioned about her sources because the Sanjeev Bhatt was now dismissed from service by the Supreme Court, and with the order which has been upheld by the Supreme Court, and criminal charges have been framed against him, was her main source, and that fellow is also a habitual liar. I have also established this about how the government works and how he was lying. He had made personal insinuations against the present Chief Minister and the then Chief Minister and present Prime Minister of India. So that is the level of areas where they were all working. Rana Ayyub as well as Fareed Zakaria, both of them. In addition to that, Fareed Zakaria in his own personal level, as you see, is a plagiarism. There are reports of his plagiarism. I don't know what went beyond that, but the CNN conducted internal inquiry. These are all not in my knowledge, but it is well reported that he had plagiarized. He had involved in plagiarism, and it was published in the Indian weekly magazine called The Week. It is well established. It was published in The Week a long time back when the issue was very hot. So what do you expect? How do you expect objectivity from a person of this type of antecedents? The source is suspicious. The only source he is relying upon, anti-Modi, anti-India, Hindu-phobic journalist whose only contribution is that she has been spitting venom on Hindus, the Hindu practices, the Hindu, the 2002 riots in which she personally made insinuations against Mr. Modi. So this type of antecedent is only so. For the purpose of objectivity, having regard to the fact that he was working for one big name in the media, one international name in the media, he should have consulted or he should have referred upon more sources than relying solely upon this lady called Rana Ayyub. So it is very surprising. Was it a manufactured narrative? Were they trying to peddle an agenda? Because now if you see the result of this, even Wikipedia is not only has they frozen their result, it's a one-sided story they have given, and they are refusing to yield to any editing, any suggestions, everything, even listen to suggestion, and that reflects the objectivity of the Wikipedia, the authenticity and objectivity of Wikipedia also. See, the entire thing has become a cauldron, that it's a boiling cauldron. Every fellow who is anti-Modi, anti-CA, Hindu-phobic, all of them are joining hands, whether it is Fareed Zakaria from CNN, or whether it is Washington Post, or whether it is Bernie Sanders, or whomsoever it is, all of them are joining hands and trying to create an international narrative. And the effect of this is being, the Richter scale of this is being felt in the UNHRC Commission report also. So that is which we have discussed. So this is something which needs to be countered. We all know that what is happening in this context. So, and we have to do this type of PGurus channel should be more popularized, seeking subscriptions and all that, so that the exact truth is taken to the world. Fareed Zakaria is not only a plagiarizer, he is a lie peddler. And for shooting his lie, he is picking up only those sources who are in consonance with his lies. He is refusing to listen to anybody other than Rana Ayyub or maybe Arifa Khanum or whatever it is. These are all people who is his peddling. Same Rana Ayyub, when Hamid Ansari was the chairman of Rajya Sabha, was in the Rajya Sabha TV, a panelist. Please.
See, this house of lies is going to fall completely apart if, for example, the Democrats don't come back to power in 2020 in the White House. Because CNN, I'm hoping to reach out to those people who are watching CNN, because CNN was considered a reliable source of news. CNN occupied the vacant vacuum that BBC had left behind because the empire had crumbled, and that's how CNN rose. In fact, 1989 was their hour of crowning glory. Christian Amanpour reported from the first Gulf War, from the Persian Gulf, as Bush drove out the Iraqis from Kuwait, and the Iraqis didn't leave quietly. They burnt every oil well that they could lay their hands on, and months were spent capping those oils to make them reusable again. Oh my God, Saddam Hussein should have been finished off at that point. I don't know why George Bush Sr. left him alone, because that would have been the right time to get rid of that guy. Anyway, that's our water under the bridge. But most important thing is, this is a shout out to all those people who are looking at CNN for their objectivity, for their news, and also to the CNN management. Look, you are having a liar peddling more lies on your channel, and you have somebody who's already been accused of plagiarism, egging her on. Why don't you listen to the other side? Why don't you call me? I'll tell you what exactly is happening. And I'll tell you also the things commissions and omissions of the present government. I'm not saying that this government is blameless either. So the point is, news is news. That is the truth. If you want to have a different version of truth, then perhaps you should tell people that our version of truth is not the same as the truth. Thank you very much, Mr. Mani, and we'll be back with more such interesting conversations.
Thank you.